There are people in the world so hungry that God cannot appear to them except in the form of bread. Mahatma Gandhi. Imagine waking up every day and not knowing if you can afford your day's meal. Imagine waking up and not having access to your phone, TV, internet, or even basic essentials like electric current to use a light bulb or a fan. As hard as this is for us to even comprehend, this is the reality of some people. But before going any further, let's see what extreme poverty means. According to the World Bank, people living on less than $1.9 a day are considered to be in extreme poverty. That's an annual income of around $700, a condition where people are not able to afford food, shelter, sanitation, education, or even healthcare. While the rate of extreme poverty has fallen at a record pace in the last few decades, mainly due to developments in China and India, there are still parts of the world where the majority of some populations live in extreme poverty. In this video, let's see how people escape this condition and what should be done to prevent slipbacks. One, lack of food, sanitation, and shelter. If you're watching this video, congratulations. This shows that you have the means to afford an internet connection and a smart device. And the fact that I have the equipment to make this video puts me in a more privileged position, considering that around 800 million people lived in extreme poverty pre-pandemic and the numbers have risen after COVID-19 outbreak. And it should come as no surprise that extreme poverty is directly associated with hunger and bad living conditions. If children do not have access to basic needs like food and shelter, they simply cannot dream of going to school or afford quality education. How can someone dream big if their roof is leaking or if they don't have access to a reliable shelter to sleep in? The first solution to battle extreme poverty should be to provide these children and people with basic amenities through donations or by helping these people generate their own basic income. The latter is preferable as it's more sustainable method. This could provide people with an opportunity to desire education and escape the poverty trap. 2. Lack of healthcare and increase in child mortality. Like I mentioned above, the rate of extreme poverty in India and China has reduced drastically over the years. And the main reason for this is that as these countries improved their basic healthcare and made it more affordable, the fertility rate decreased and parents had a chance to provide better living situations for less children, which meant that those children could then aim for better jobs and earn a better living. The story all across Asia, including Pakistan, Indonesia, Bangladesh, all tell a similar story. So, a decrease in poverty in percentage terms is accommodated by a decrease of poverty in actual numbers. But in other parts of the world, like Sub Saharan Africa, the situation is more grim. Although the percentage of people living in absolute poverty has decreased in the region due to population boom, the actual number of people living in extreme poverty has actually increased. And this is mainly because of lack of improvements in healthcare. Unless African leaders choose to better the healthcare in their countries, no amount of foreign aid will help in this regard. 3. Universal basic education. Education is and will be the single most important tool to battle poverty. It has the ability to change perspectives and pushes an individual to aim higher. But our perception of education can be drastically different from those living in extreme poverty. If basic education is a necessity for us, it could be a luxury for those who can't afford a slice of bread. The time spent between sitting in a classroom or working could determine if they can afford to eat that day or not. So in a situation like this, providing advanced education shouldn't be a priority. Instead, governing bodies should concentrate on providing basic education for all, which in turn equips a majority of the population to escape low-paying rural jobs to better-paying urban jobs with a lot more security. Majority of the Asian nations which have made this transition or are in the process of making it have poured immense money into basic education available for the majority of its population. Moreover, educating women has proven to be a major advantage in fighting population boom for these countries, as educated women tend to have fewer children later in life, thereby ensuring better quality of life for the child. 4. Providing jobs and promoting gender equality. While education is great at getting people out of poverty, creation of better paying jobs ensures that people continue to climb up the socio-economic ladder, thereby giving them and future generations a better chance of not falling back into poverty or even extreme poverty. So it's not surprising that developed countries who had a head start compared to the rest of the world, like Europe, North America, or even Oceania, have some of the highest number of college graduates and concentrate on high-paying, specialized jobs. While developing countries are quickly catching up, underdeveloped countries still have to undergo a huge transition. Some war-torn countries may never make this transition or make it too late because foreign companies hesitate to invest in unstable societies. And where jobs are not created, sustainable economic growth is not possible. Empowering women professionally is another important step. While it's women who are most affected by poverty, it's also women who are most likely to overcome it. Including women and giving them opportunities and economic developments will almost double the workforce and increase the wealth of families. By eradicating wars and focusing on climate change. It is estimated that COVID-19 had pushed around 150 million people back to extreme poverty by the end of 2020. The numbers have drastically increased since then. It is also estimated that the effects of climate change can be much deadlier and worse than COVID-19. As the pandemic nears to an end, jobs will return, and sometimes, coupled with a post-pandemic boom, some countries will face a surge in growth. But it's not the same with climate change. Even in developing countries like China and India, a considerable proportion of workforce still depend on agriculture. In China, this number is around 25%, and in India, it is at 42%. And considering that both these countries have a population of over 1 billion, the actual numbers are staggering. Imagine the impact climate change would have on these developing economies. The workforce of least developed countries are even more worrying. Adding to climate change, these countries also have to battle wars and civil unrest. Democratic Republic of Congo is the third most populous country in Africa, but is also one of the youngest countries in the world. But it has been riddled with war ever since its creation. As I mentioned, companies that bring foreign investment will hesitate to provide the much needed economic support if an economy is not stable. So if the issue of war and climate change is not solved, these countries will continue to be poor. Living in extreme poverty is a curse. The living and economic situation of people stuck in extreme poverty is so bad that it's almost unimaginable. But there is hope. Never before in the history of our civilization have we lifted these many people out of extreme poverty this quickly. The first wave came in China when the country opened its economy in 1978. The second wave came when India opened its economy in 1991. But we are yet to witness the third and the most important wave in Sub Saharan Africa, and this wave is going to be of epic proportions. These countries do not need our sympathy. What they need is a fair chance at proving themselves. As humans, we have an innate desire to build a better life for future generations, and this is what some countries are trying to do. With support and guidance from world powers, there is no doubt that people in Sub Saharan Africa will overcome extreme poverty, and when they do, our civilization will be transformed like never before. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, do consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon if you don't want to miss my upcoming videos. I'll see you in the next video guys. Bye for now.